Hey guys, welcome back. In last lecture you learned about promises, and in this lecture we'll take a look on observables. This topic can be a little bit more challenging, but don't worry, I prepared for you wireframes and we will debug code. So let's start. Here is a simple wireframe. In a car service.js we will create an observable, and we will get this observable in our index.js, and we need to subscribe to it. This is very important. You need to subscribe to your observable in order to get your data. Alright, over time, let's say you'll get a request from a server, and as you get this response from a server, or you get the data over time from asynchronous operation, you will emit this data on observable, and your subscribe function in index.js will call these callback functions depending on what you emitted, data, error, or done. So this is a simpler wireframe, and let's take a look on a more specific one. And here is a more specific one. We will call getSecretDocuments in our index.js. This will go to carService.js and we will return new observable here to index.js. And we are creating instance of observable. So it will invoke constructor, and there we will register, we will assign our callback function with a set timeout to some variable. Let's say to underscore subscribe, but it really doesn't matter what name there is because this is an observable code, not our code. This is a part of an observable library. Okay, and in order to get a data here to index.js, we need to subscribe to this observable, and you need to subscribe and provide here object with the 3 values, and these are our functions: next, error, and a complete, just like this. Okay, and all of this here, this observable.js library and our asynchronous code, we are really not concerned about this part here. In usual real scenario, this is abstracted to you. You are just interested in this part that are outside this, this square. Okay, but let's talk about this. So when we subscribe to observable, we'll go inside of the observable.js and we will create an observer. And we will register handlers that we provided to our subscribe function. So this object with these functions we will register to observer. Okay? And next we will call subscribe. So we'll call this subscribe. We assigned our callback function with a set timeout, right? And we'll call this with the observer. And now we will get a data after 2 seconds. And if we got the data, we will call observer.next. If we don't have a data, we will call observer.error. And if observable is complete, we will call observer.complete or something like this. And this will call this function, these callback functions, these handlers in our subscribe in index.js, and we'll get our data back. Okay, so this is observable. I know it's a little bit difficult to understand like this, but we can start coding it. Let's go to our coding editors. And here I will create a new file. So in a base folder, let's create a new file and let's call it observable.js. Just like this. Okay, and now let's go back to our browsers. And here we will copy code from this article, Simple Observable Implementation from Federico Knussel. This is a very nice implementation, and thanks to him we can use it. Because using observable library from RxJS would be too difficult to really understand. It's much more difficult, but the principle is almost the same. So let's scroll down here and let's find what we need. And we need this part of the code, class observer, here. Okay, observer, and let's scroll a little bit, and observable. These 2 codes here, and I will include this code inside of a resource of this lecture. So let's copy this observer, just like this. And let's go back to our coding editors and let's paste it here. Okay, this is one part, and go back. And here let's copy this observable class. Alright, let's copy, let's go back, and let's paste it under. What we need to export from this is just the observable. So module.export equals observable. Amazing. let's work on our service now. So let's go to our car service.js. And here we will import this observable first. So const observable, like this, equals require, and this out of this folder, so // observable. Perfect, and let's scroll down and let's find our function. Get secret documents. You can comment this code as I did already before, so just feel free and comment everything inside the function. I will create here new implementation. So just under, I will return observable. So it's a little bit similar than promise. We need to return observable from here. So return new observable, just like this. Okay, and we will provide, well, not like this, but just like this, return new observable. So we are creating instance of observable, and inside you need to provide callback function. So arrow function, like this. Now we have our callback function, and to callback function you will provide value of observer. Okay, and now we can call our asynchronous code. So this set timeout. I will write it again. So set timeout, like this, and two values inside. So one callback function. You can write arrow function or function normally. Let's write normal function for now, like this, and a time. So let's say 2 seconds. Perfect. Right, and now we can assign our secret document. So let's copy this line. Let's say we are after 2 seconds, we are getting our secret document from server and we are ready to emit this data. And you will just call observer.next, just like this, with your data. Okay, so let's continue and let's go back to our index.js. In index.js, you can leave it here. Let's write under new code here. And I will call this observable. So const, let's say car observable or document observable, doc observable. Observable like this equals, and now car service get secret documents. And let's comment this, we don't need it here anymore. Like this. And you see, we are creating observable here, but in order to get the data here, we need to subscribe to it. So let's write doc observable and subscribe. And you need to provide inside object. So right here, object, an object with three values. So write this next, and this is a arrow function, or normal function is up to you, and error, like this. All right, and now complete arrow function, and here I'm using comma. So just normal object with three functions, and that's it. All right, and here we'll get our data. So secret docs, here we'll get the error, and we can console it log out. So make some space here, so we'll put this on a new lines, like this, and a console log secret docs. And here I will console log error, just like this. Perfect. Let's save it, and I will place here a breakpoint, so you will see what's happening here. But make sure everything is saved. All right? And now let's debug it. All right. And now we are calling get secret documents, so we'll get inside of this. All right, and we are returning new observable with this callback function, observer set timeout, right? Let's go inside. What's happening here? And as I told you, we are registering, assigning our callback function to this underscore subscribe. Right, let's go next. Just like this, we are going outside. This is fine. And I missed subscribe, I'm sorry, but you see we are displaying secret documents. So one more time, I was too fast again. So let's go inside. We are returning new observable. We are registering our callback function. And like this, and we are getting back to our index.js, and we are calling subscribe with this object and three callback functions here. All right, let's get inside of a subscribe, and you see we are getting inside of an observable call in a subscribe function, and we are creating observer And here we are getting our handlers. You see, complete error next. So just an object with 3 functions. Let's get into the observer. We are registering these handlers. I'm assigning to these handlers we are getting here. So our function with complete error and next. Just like this, and is unsubscribed to false. This is not important for us. Alright, like this, and now we are calling our function here. This is our callback function here, this subscribe with the observer. This part is not important to us, and this return as well. This is important part here, that we are subscribing to it. And now let's get inside, and this should invoke our set timeout, you see? Perfect. And let's go next. Like this, and after 2 seconds, you are getting inside of your callback function here in a set timeout. And you are calling observer.next with your secret documents, and this will invoke your handler in index.js. So let's get inside, and you see we are getting value here, super secret documents don't share, and we are checking if we have a handler for a next, and we are getting inside, and we are calling this next function, which will invoke our index.js function here. I'll show you. I can place here even breakpoint here, and we will get there. So here, and I'm getting here in a console log and getting secret documents. Amazing. So it looks very good when it's that simple, and everything is visible to you. In reality, it's much more code and more difficult observables, but this is basically it, guys. And I will show you what you can do with observables. You can emit more data, because we are still subscribed to this observable. We can emit more data. So okay, instead of a car service.js, I can emit, let's say, 3 values here. So secret docs 1, secret docs 2, secret docs 3, just like this. Let's save it, and let's go to index.js, and let's run our code. Alright, I will forward all of this. We don't need to see this. Console log, console log, console log, and you see super secret documents, secret docs 1, 2, 3. We got everything from our service. Amazing. What will happen if I will emit error? So I'll place debugger here as well, and let's go to our service. So car service.js, and let's write here after secret docs 1 observer.next, and here nasty error happened, just like this. Alright, and now let's run our code. Index.js and run it. Alright, and we should get inside, yeah. And let's forward this, and we are emitting our data here. So let's see our handler next, console log, super secret documents, don't share, okay. Docs1, and now error, and let's see. And okay, we are getting data here. So something is wrong, because after error we should unsubscribe from observable, and we should no longer get any data here. So let's see what's the problem. Let's go to our car service.js, and here we are emitting with the next, and this is wrong. Okay, we should use error here. Error like this. So go inside of observable.js, and you can see that on error we are unsubscribing here. Unsubscribe. And in the next we are checking if we are subscribed or unsubscribed. If we are unsubscribed, we will not call our handlers here. Okay? So let's debug it one more time. Run this. And let's see. Alright, we are getting our console logs here. 1, 2, and now we should get error, and it's done. No more console logs here. Perfect. And the same is with a complete. So let's see it. Go to our car service, and I will call here complete. Just with a empty. Don't need to provide any values here. Just like this. Let's save it back to index.js. Alright, and console log 1, 2, and it's done. Completed. Alright guys, so that should be it for this lecture. I really hope that you understand Observable. You can debug this code and see really what's happening here. And that should be for this lecture. So guys, see you in the next lectures.